Being 7 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Baspis.
Here.
Commissioner Baker.
Here.
Commissioner Collins. Commissioner Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Talentino.
Here.
Commissioner Twardy.
Here.
Okay, Commissioner Talentino.
So moved to excuse Commissioner Collins.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Pose same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Do we have to vote on the?
Nope.
We're good. Okay.
Nope, I got you covered.
Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's go on here to item number, item number B, item C, public comment. If you have an item on the agenda that you'd like to speak on, you can let us know at this point, and when we get to that item, we will call on you. You have 3 minutes at that time to talk about the item. So is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on an agenda item? Okay, you're hearing none, we'll move on to item number, let's see, C. No, take that back. Item number D. Assistant City Manager.
Under the consent agenda, 1, approval of the City Commission meeting minutes of June 18th, 2018. Approval of the City Commission meeting minutes of June 27th, 2018. Approval of the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority meeting minutes of February 13th, 2018. Approval of the Economic Development Corporation meeting minutes of May 8th, 2018. Approval of the Tax Increment Authority Unit 3 meeting minutes of May 8th, 2018. Accept the resignation of Doug Welton from the Economic Development Board. Accept the resignation of Gwen Worley from the Economic Development Board. Confirm the mayor's appointment of Rosemary Smith to the Economic Development Corporation to fill the balance of a term to expire on June 1, 2023. Item 9, approval of Power Canal Trail resolution regarding local match and future maintenance. Item 10, acceptance of a donation in the amount of $2,000 from Lake Superior State University via Central Savings Bank. Item 11, acceptance of a provision of supplemental valuation. Item 12, authorization or authorize a letter of support for the International Bridge Build Grant application. Item 13 is from the Downtown Development Authority, parking permit sales policy. Item 14 from Sioux Events and the Sioux Area Foundation of Education, SAFE, authorization to sell liquor on city-owned property for the 350th Festival on July 21 and 20 and 21, 2018, subject to the rules of the Michigan Liquor Control Commission and any rules established by the city manager.
Okay, thank you. Is there
Oh, sorry. Items 15 is from the Sault Ste. Marie Foundation for Culture and History, Program Service Provider Agreement, and item 16 is approval of the consent agenda items.
Okay. Is there a commissioner would like something further explained on the consent agenda? You see it's pretty lengthy. A lot of that information we've already discussed at a previous commission. Commissioner Miller.
I see in number 8, it says confirm mayor's appointment of Rosemary Smith to the Economic Development Corporation, but there's 2 seats open?
Yes.
What was that? Do you have someone for the other seat?
Yes, we just contacted them today, so I believe they're still interested, so that will be on the next commission agenda.
Thank you.
And this one item, there were a number of, normally we have looking for people.
Yes.
This item, there were, I think, how many? There were about 8, I believe, names, so that looking at I thought, trying to get the best available people at the time, because as the EDC continues to go as well as others, those people on the list will have a chance, I'm sure. Yes.
One more quick question, Your Honor, then. I know that you appoint people at your pleasure, but do Do you take input from other people?
Sure.
Or from commissioners or
Yeah,
whatever?
for sure. Yep.
Okay.
And also, it's my appointment, but it's got to be approved by the commission.
Okay.
So I recommend somebody, and then
Okay.
if that person doesn't make it, then we will move on to somebody else. But hopefully, those people do make it, because we don't want to embarrass anybody, because they're really trying to help the city, you know?
Absolutely, I understand.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sure. Mhm. Anyone else? Do we have a motion? Commissioner Miller?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Baspis,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item F, Communications, 1, from the Sault Ste. Marie Downtown Development Authority, public hearing for City of Sault Ste. Marie Downtown Facade Project.
Okay, thank you. City Manager Turner.
Thank you, Mayor. On this matter, DDA Director Nepper is here to present to the City Commission and community.
Okay. And while Justin is coming up, let me, I know the city attorney in previous meetings said that because I'm involved with one of the projects as an employee, that I would abstain from any discussion.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Don Gary, you're in charge.
Mr. Nepper, you're in charge.
Good evening, everyone. Last commission meeting, we voted to schedule a public hearing, and the public notice was printed in the Sioux News for the last, I believe, from June 19th to July 26th, to allow for the public to make any comments that they might be interested in the federally funded facade grant program. This is our second round. 2 years ago, we completed our first round of facade grants. There were no public comments that I'm aware of that came in from that public notice. And as of tonight, the request would be to request the release of funds following the public hearing held tonight, and set up pretty much allow the grant to start. So it'll be tomorrow morning, based on the City Commission's action tonight, requesting the release of funds and beginning construction. I think there's a 2-week public comment period in Lansing, when they will issue a grant agreement signed by the city manager. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Nepper? City Manager, do you have any comments?
Just that I appreciate the work of the DDA and the investment of the property owners and the improvements downtown. Point of clarification, that there is, as noted by the director, a public hearing that's required, after which time the City Commission may take action to formally request the release of funds from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. At this time, we'll conduct a public hearing on City of Sault Ste. Marie Downtown Facade Project. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? Okay, hearing none. Any questions or comments from the commission? And do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we formally request the release of funds from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation for the facade grant.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty,
Yes.
and I have Mayor Baspis abstaining from the vote.
Motion passed. Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Okay, thank you.
Item 2 under Communications is from the Economic Development Corporation, approval of various actions on runway under drain project at Sanderson Field.
Thank you. City Manager Turner.
Thank you, Mayor. On this matter, EDC Director Jeff Holt is here to present. Thank you.
Evening, Jeff.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commission. Thank you for having me here. We, as you may know, we have a drainage issue at our city airport that was realized and scheduled for construction this year. It wasn't our plan to use our TIFA funding. However, the state early this year had decided to not fund non-commercial airports for funding at this time. Luckily, we had funding available under the TIP 3. And the budget, it is budgeted and appropriated for $151,860 for the design construction of a runway under drainage at Sanderson Field. This is necessary to preserve the new underlayment that we did last year, and we were fortunate enough to get funding for that last year. It was a big ticket item, so we're very fortunate. Our consulting firm is QOE, a Michigan-based professional engineering company that specializes in aviation engineering. And, oh, is that better? Okay, sorry. The Office of Aeronautics, they work with them exclusively, and they provide the scope of services to be provided by QOE. And the proposed bids were presented. The bids closed on June 20th, and we had 2 bids, and the construction is slated to begin August 13th, 2018. The runway will be closed Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for 2 weeks, unless it's emergency, and we can make arrangements for that. We received 2 bids, and the one bid that we're requesting is a bid from Elmer's Crane and Dozer Incorporated for $143,496.
Any questions, Director Holt? Commissioner Miller?
Excuse me, where, Elmer's Crane and Dozer, where's that out of?
Traverse City.
And they were the low bid?
They were not the low bid.
Not the low bid.
The low bid was deemed incorrect, and it's the best interest of the city to move with the next bid, which was about $5,000 more.
Thank you.
Commissioner Geary?
And that was at the recommendation of QOE, our consultant and engineer?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? Yes, City Manager.
Just for the record, as required by the city charter, when an award is provided to an entity that is not the low bidder, it's for specified reasons, and as noted in the memorandum, it would be based on the recommendation of QOE and with consultation with city administration, as well as the fact the low bidder did not contain unit pricing and did not use the correct bid bond form. So those reasons would be noted in any action, if that's the commission's pleasure to award it as recommended. There are 4 recommended motions. The first, to authorize the city manager to execute Michigan Department of Transportation contract for design engineering. Secondly, to authorize the city manager to execute QOE's contract amendment as presented for the construction engineering work in the amount of $15,089. 3, to approve the award of the runway under drain construction project to Elmer's Crane and Dozer per QOE's recommendation in the amount of $143,496. And finally, to authorize the city manager to execute related project and grant documents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Miller, you had a question?
Yeah, just so I'm clear, then the low bidder just didn't do it right?
Correct.
Correct. Just didn't. Who was that?
Bonacci Construction.
Okay.
Thank you.
In discussion with the city attorney, out of 4 motions, 1 and 2 should be together, and then 3 and 4 should be together. Okay? Let's go with Commissioner Talentino.
So moved to authorize the city manager to execute the MDOT contract number 2018-0573 for design engineering, and also to authorize the city manager to execute QOE's contract amendment as presented for the construction engineering work on the project in the amount of $15,089.
Support.
Been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Baspas,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
So moved to approve the award for the runway drainage construction project to Elmer's Crane and Dozer Incorporated per QUE's recommendation, the amount of $143,496, and also to authorize the city manager to execute related project and grant documentation.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Yes, 3 and 4 together. Roll
I have a
call.
question.
Oh, excuse me, Commissioner Miller.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I have a question.
Sure.
So the company that had the lowest bid that didn't do it correctly, were they given a chance to redo it or not? Were they given a chance to find out what their mistakes were and to, I don't know how that works, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Just
okay.
if you could
City
explain it to me.
manager. Let's go to city manager.
It's my understanding, and the director can elaborate on this further, that they did provide additional unit pricing information, and that did not meet expectations as far as balancing to original information submitted. Director Holt.
That's correct, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? City attorney wants to make a comment.
In the bidding process, it's important to note that we have to eliminate any favoritism or the perception of any favoritism. Therefore, when bids come in, the risk of the bid not being complete or done on the appropriate forms, as this bid was not complete and not done in the appropriate forms, falls on the bidder. If the city were to allow corrections and to allow people to resubmit their bid after bids were opened, there could be allegations that the pricing information was leaked or modified, or that favoritism was showed and that other bidders were not given the same consideration. It has to be a very tight and crisp opening process.
Thank you. Commissioner Miller.
I want to thank the city attorney for explaining that to me. The thing is, I'm in favor of always trying to give bids to local
Sure.
businesses, local
We all
companies,
are,
whatever.
yeah.
But if they don't do it correctly, and I understand the process,
Yeah.
if you don't abide by the process, then you're out. I mean, I understand that. Thank you for your,
Yeah,
thanks for the
and we've-
clarification.
And we've had that, just for the commission's knowledge too, that we've had those discussions every year that I've been on the commission, and every commissioner here wants to see local contractors get bids.
Yes.
And we fight hard for that, but in order to be consistent and have people bidding, how the city attorney explains it, it's important that we maintain that credibility. Right?
I thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion and support. Anyone else have a question? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty,
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Gary.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 3 under communications is from Denny Doherty, Island Trail Committee report on activity for Voyager Island Park and Rotary Island Park.
Okay. City manager.
I would defer to Mr. Doherty, who
Okay, here he comes.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, welcome and
Well,
thank
thank
you
you.
for all that you do.
Well, thanks. On behalf of our Island Trail Committee, thank you for considering our request to accept the projects we did this year. And if you have any questions on the report that was sent in, I'm here for them. So,
I know you sent some pictures to the commission in our preliminary information, which are just great.
Well, thanks.
And I thought while you were maybe explaining it, they would put some of those pictures on the commission, or on the dais, so people could see them. And I know the trail, while you're there, let me just talk, and then you can be even more specific, but every night especially in the summertime, there are literally tens, many tens,
Yeah.
sometimes 25, sometimes 50. Lots of people using the waterways and going to the islands and just being out there in
Yeah.
that safe water. And that all started with you, so.
well, there are a lot of people
In your
involved.
group.
Yes.
No, you're not by yourself,
Yes,
and we
right.
know that, but the leadership is tremendous.
Well, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. I guess you probably have the report I sent in. There were 4 items plus another one here with the request that we might have to move the current ramp on Voyager Island if we have continuing ice damage. So I guess I'm also asking that part be a part of this too. Oh, are they coming up?
Yeah, they're,
Okay.
They're going through them. City manager, a lot of people don't understand how the facility is being cleaned and kept clean and that stuff, so maybe you can re-explain that with the group and the collaboration that we've had with others.
Right, thank you for that question, Mayor. At this time, the city is in collaborations with Bird's Eye Adventures, which is operating from a smaller component of Rotary Island. And in exchange for the leasing of that space, they do traverse over to the island and maintain certain aspects of it regularly. This is I would deem it to be very beneficial for the city in the representation that it helps to alleviate additional burdens on staff, and that they are responsible for various cleaning provisions as well as stocking of supplies. Director Wires has also been working with the EUP ISD and their youth summer work group to establish an agreement to have different individuals and students maintaining the area as well. And so I know that Parks and Recreation has been working very closely with Mr. Doherty, the group, the EUP ISD, and Bird's Eye Adventure on the long-term maintenance of this facility.
Now you just, I mean, you had the National Guard involved with cleaning up the island initially.
Yeah.
It was a tremendous undertaking.
Yeah, well, a lot of, entities involved and really a positive attitude. So everybody pitched in, and that's what made it. There's no one person that can do it. It just took a team, so.
Anyone have any questions of Denny? Again, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
We need a motion. Let's go to Commissioner Baker.
I'll make a motion to formally accept the completed improvements as described by Denny Doherty and the Island Trail Committee, and to further support dock ramp alternatives.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty,
Yes.
Mayor Baspas,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy, motion carried, by the way.
On item number 2, the second motion that was made for items number 3 and 4, we didn't electronically vote.
No, I noticed that.
Didn't come up on mine either.
I cast it
Oh, you
on your
did?
behalf.
Oh, you took
Okay,
care of it.
we're good.
Okay,
Thank you.
I
Thank
knew-
you.
I thought maybe that would occur. I thought it was just me.
Came up.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item number G, there's a city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 1, under the city manager's report, would provide authorization for the purchase of playground equipment for Prospect and Sheridan Park, also referred to as Chandler Park and the Triangle Park. As commissioners are aware, city administration is currently undertaking a significant initiative to remove and/or replace unsafe and obsolete playground equipment. Initial efforts have focused on Chandler Park, located at the intersection of Sheridan Drive and Prospect Avenue, Ani Osborne Campground, Malcolm Park, and Sherman Park. These playground equipment modernization efforts are running concurrently with an enhanced effort by city administration to meet the goal established by the City Commission to further establish and promote outdoor recreation opportunities. As commissioners are aware, city administration has been meeting directly with a number of residents who expressed an interest in future improvements that will be made at Chandler Park. The level of feedback received from residents has been invaluable to the process of planning improvements. Aside from replacing unsafe and obsolete playground equipment, administration has been working to use this feedback to further cultivate a sense of place in the park by planning for the installation of a garden with appropriate park and neighborhood signage and updating park amenities through operating funds to include the replacement of the existing garbage can and also installing a picnic table. Discussion has also been held by some of the residents regarding fundraising for the construction of an area to facilitate basketball. During this process, administration has also received invaluable input from citizens that beyond the traditional means of reaching out regarding park improvements, such as press releases that mailed notices, could further notify owners within a certain distance of pending parks changes. This feedback will be directly integrated into city operations and further enhance best practices for cementing collaboration with the community on important improvements. The bidding process has also been administered in a means to accommodate improvements at Chandler Park as well as future improvements at various parks. As commissioners may imagine, the bidding of commercial children's playground equipment must consider the fact that most commercial manufacturers utilize special processes on their own equipment. As the city is looking at placing various individual pieces back into parks, and with many of the items in combination being under $10,000, the bidding process was administered in an efficient manner to meet current needs for Chandler Park as well as future needs for the remainder of the season, during which time community input will be further solicited. In response to the call for bids, suppliers provided entire catalogs and pricing. In total, the City Commission included an allocation in the amount of $50,000 in the current fiscal year budget for the purchase of new playground equipment. The expenditures which would be used in Chandler Park represent approximately 2/5 of the allocation, and other funds may be available given the fact that other related projects may come in under anticipated budget. As well as the fact that for the current $50,000 appropriation, roughly $30,000 would be remaining in the current fiscal year if it's the Commission's pleasure to approve this project. Again, the collaboration with citizens has enriched the process of reinvigorating Chandler Park, and its administration's recommendation to move forward with the recommended course of action, which include the installation of a spiral slide, a spinner, a jump to it, a ball toss, swings, a balance beam, and a scoop digger. Thank you, Mayor and Commission.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the city manager at this point? Let's go to Commissioner Twardy.
I'll make a motion to authorize the purchase of recreational playground equipment from Play and Park Structures and Game Time as presented.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item 2, under the city manager's report, would provide for approval to apply for a build, formerly Tiger grant application for Carbide Dock and East Easter Day repairs. On this matter, City Engineer Basista will present to the Commission.
Good evening, Linda.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission. As many of you recall, last year we applied for what was called a Tiger grant, and the Department of Transportation has issued a notice of funding opportunity for the revamped program, which is now called the Build Grant. And I don't know if I spelled that out, what BUILD stands for, but it is a transportation grant. These grants are through the U.S. Department of Transportation, and they are extremely competitive. For a rural area such as ours, the minimum project amount, grant amount is $1 million, and the maximum grant amount is $25 million. So as you can see, these are very large projects, and they're supposed to have an economic national interest aspect to them. So as you know, we applied for the Tiger Grant last year for the Carbide Dock and Easter Day from it'd be about Barbo to Ashman. And I'm proposing that we do the same application for the Build Grant. The total project cost is $21.7 million. And last year this year I'm proposing a $1 million match for the grant. And that is the $1 million special legislative grant that we received for the Carbide Dock through the state of Michigan. And we were assured through a debriefing of our application last year and through the webinars, training webinars this year, that rural communities are not required to offer any match, and also that the matches does not help for competitiveness anyway. So we are proposing, again, the $21.7 million using the special legislative grant as match, and to repair Carbide Dock, which also includes Alfred Park, and then East Easter Day, which would include utilities as well.
Question I have?
Yes.
Do you know how much they have in the total package to give out? So we can see what was 21 million, 30%, 20%?
You know, I don't know, and I didn't print the notice of funding opportunity. It was in your packets, and that would say
Okay.
how much
Okay.
total
Some
is
background
available.
material. Okay.
But I would say 21 million and it has to be divided up among the states. So
Okay.
it can't all go to one or two states.
Okay.
So 21 million is not a large percentage of the total available
Oh,
for
okay.
Michigan.
Would they look at if it was over more than 1 year type of thing?
Nope.
No, it's got to be a grant total, okay. Thank you. Any other question? Commissioner Twardy?
So I know you don't have a crystal ball, but I'm wondering with the Corps of Engineers needs study that just was published on Friday, 2.4%, or a little over 2.44, I think, right? So that brings a lot of other interesting factors into play with this. And I know that we have a lot of support going all the way up to our federal congressman on this. Do you think that that gives us any better chance?
Well, I'm planning to take the needs report that was published and use some of the facts in that as part of our cost-benefit analysis. So that will certainly help strengthen our application. When we applied for the Tiger Grant, we were recommended, and those that went to the Secretary of Transportation for selection were actually highly recommended. So we had a pretty good application, and but we are going to be looking for transportation department, especially the Marine assistance or recognition from the U.S. Marine Department, because in Washington they said you really have to have somebody pushing for you. And actually the grant administrator, I mean, he was honest, short of President Trump jumping on the desk and saying, fund this project. But we have a better chance at that, right? So, but we'll use every connection we have, and we're still trying to make more. City Manager Turner and I have been in contact with various people to get our project visible to those in Washington.
Yeah, all right. Thank you.
Sure.
Good job.
Anyone else? City Manager?
Yeah, just appreciate the work of the engineering department in developing and submitting this grant application. The notice of funding award, or notice of funding notification that the city engineer provided to me indicated that approximately $1.5 billion is to be awarded by the Department of Transportation through the 2018 Appropriations Act. And if all of that funding was awarded, that would be 3 times the amount from the last Tiger round, which was awarded, which was about $500 million. Okay. Although I would note that the DOT doesn't necessarily have to distribute all of those funds, but there appears to be a larger pool.
Good. Let's hope our chances are better. You know? Yes. And that was great news that we received on the new study that shows a lock. It's under 3, which I think it was 922 million. We would hope to hear something in the near future. That's what we're all hoping for sure. Thank you. City Commission. This is for the Commissioner Talentino.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution for the submission of the Build Transportation Discretionary Grant application.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Derry?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item 3, under the city manager's report, we provide for the approval of a service provider agreement with Sioux Events. At its December 5th, 2016 regular meeting, the commission approved an agreement between the city and Sioux Events. This agreement was structured to include a term for the first 6 months of 2017, with the city paying $5,000 for services rendered. Thereafter, Sioux Events completed substantial work on behalf of the city to plan for activities associated with the 350th anniversary of the French settlement of Sault Ste. Marie, to plan for the Great Race, which occurred in the summer of 2017, to provide marketing assistance and support for events sponsored by the city, coordinate citywide cleanup, engage in activities supportive of the U.S. Coast Guard Integration Committee, and support a variety of related administrative functions. Importantly, the Commission thereafter included funding within both of the budgets for fiscal year 18 and 19 to support the continued extension of this agreement. It was subsequently extended by the Commission for a term running from July 1st, 17 through June 30, 2018 at a cost of $9,000 for similar activities and services. In discussions with Sioux Events, it is clear that much work can continue to be accomplished through an extension of this agreement. While City Administration has actively supported past efforts, the outstanding efforts of Mary Jo Duvall through the Service Provider Agreement have elevated these various activities in terms of impact and provided many hours of service that were essential to the successful implementation of these tasks, which is particularly salient considering current staffing levels. This Service Provider Agreement certainly provides an excellent opportunity to tie together these efforts with the marketing and planning capacities of Sioux Events and the Sioux Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. It should be noted that the proposed Service Provider Agreement and extension would provide for a payment in the amount of $4,500 to Sioux Events to continue this work for a time period lasting from July 1st, 2018 through December 31st of this year. Importantly, it has been agreed upon by both parties that the agreement be extended by 6 months to reflect the fact that the scope of the agreement and services rendered will change substantially at the end of the calendar year when celebrations associated with the semi-septennial conclude. On top of the $4,500 payment, the agreement also provides for any funds received from the state of Michigan to support celebrations associated with the anniversary to be used to reimburse Sioux Events for expenditures related with the same. As commissioners are aware, the state of Michigan recently approved a $25,000 special legislative allocation to coordinate such celebrations in collaboration with the Sault Ste. Marie tribe of Chippewa Indians, as well as the Bay Mills Indian community. It should be noted that the city attorney and the city's liability insurance carrier have both favorably reviewed the agreement. Accordingly, it would be my recommendation that the City Commission approve the agreement as presented. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And it should be known that Linda Holt from the Convention and Visitor Bureau is here, and that's all part of, Sioux Events is housed in her office, and I believe she supervises those folks, so continue to do a tremendous job in the city, and of course, we'll talk a little bit about Engineers Day when it comes to the commission matters coming up here shortly, but let's go to Commissioner Gary.
I just wanted to, because you said that,
Yeah.
Sioux Events is a separate and distinct organization, and it's governed by a separate board of directors. So even though I am on the board of the Commission and Visitors Bureau, I just wanted to get the city attorney's blessing before I make the motion.
You're not on the board of Sioux Events?
No.
Then you must vote.
Thank you.
Okay.
I make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute the included service provider agreement as presented.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Okay, let's go to roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bospis?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item 4, under City Manager's report, would provide for the approval of wage adjustments for non-union employees. As commissioners are aware, during recent months, the city has finalized collective bargaining agreements with the clerical, police records, and public works bargaining units, and has further reached a tentative agreement for a successor collective bargaining agreement with the police patrol unit. At the conclusion of previous collective bargaining cycles, the city has taken action to adjust the compensation received by employees who are not represented by a bargaining unit. Accordingly, included within the report, City Commissioners will find updated wage tables for non-union employees. The tables have been revised to reflect a 2% wage increase for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, as well as other adjustments provided for during the budget development process. Associated costs are included within the adopted fiscal year 19 budget. It should be noted that the wage tables do not detail wages received by the employees of the Economic Development Corporation or the Downtown Development Authority. These wages are set by the EDC Board of Directors and DDA board members, respectively. Importantly, it should be noted that City Attorney Canello has advised wage increases for non-union employees can be issued retroactive to July 1st, given the fact that such costs are anticipated during the budget development process. The non-union employees of the city have continued to deliver outstanding service to the community. Department heads complete a wide variety of complex tasks with continuously compressed resources, while shouldering a substantial share of the management burden of city operations. Their commitment and accomplishments are evident and impressive. Similarly, non-union employees who are not department heads also complete a wide variety of complex administrative tasks and offer vital support to the functionality of the city. Their dedication and skills contribute daily to the advancement of the community's quality of life. As noted previously, the city has maintained fiscal stability under challenging circumstances that are impacting many other municipalities within the state and under circumstances unique to the city. Concurrently, the proposed wage increases, in my assessment, strike the correct balance between ensuring this stability continues and attracting and retaining skilled employees whose efforts continue to the advancement of the community. It should be noted these increases would also apply to the city manager and city attorney, the two direct reports of the city commission. On behalf of city administration, I would like to thank the city's non-union employees for the continued contributions and accordingly would recommend that the city commission approve a 2% wage increase for non-union employees retroactive to July 1st, 2018, as detailed within the included wage tables and as presented. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Commissioner Gary.
I would make the motion to approve the 2% wage increase for non-union employees retroactive to July 1, 2018, as detailed within the included wage tables and as presented.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Vaspas,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
And item 5 under the city manager's report would provide for the appointment to the Community Inclusion Initiative Working Committee. As commissioners are aware, during the June 4th, 2018 regular meeting of the City Commission, unanimous action was taken to direct city administration to review the development of a community inclusion initiative and to provide a report back to City Commission. As city administration begins to move forward into this process, it may be appropriate for the City Commission to designate 1 or 2 commissioners to join a working group that would be tasked with researching this matter further, holding dialogue regarding the initial effort with local partners, identifying local stakeholders, and making initial contact with local organizations regarding the initiative and a logical structure. As noted previously during the most recent Michigan Municipal League Capital Conference, discussion occurred regarding the launching of a local effort to foster community inclusion and diversity. In brief conversations with a number of local partners, it appears that there would be partnership support for engaging in this type of effort. Accordingly, I would respectfully request that the City Commission appoint 1 or 2 of its members to serve in support of this effort. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And in discussion with the commissioners, I know Commissioner Twardy was the one that brought this up to the commission. I'd like to nominate Commissioner Twardy as that person that represents the commission. Commissioner Talentino?
Sure, I'd love to make the recommendation to
Okay, sure.
have Commissioner Twardy be that person.
Support.
Okay, is there any other commissioner that'd like to be included in that? Otherwise, we'll just have, excuse me, otherwise it'll just be the Commissioner Twardy at this point?
I'd be more than happy to as well, Your Honor.
Oh, Commissioner Talentino, Commissioner Twardy.
I'll make a motion to nominate Commissioner Talentino also to represent the city.
Okay.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved supported that Commissioner Twardy and Commissioner Talentino represent the commission on these, on this committee. Voice vote will work?
Can do a voice vote.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
That concludes the city manager's report. Thank you, Mayor and Commission.
Okay, thank you. Item number H is the status reports.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item under status reports is an update regarding research into the opioid litigation. On this matter, City Attorney Canello will be presenting to the Commission.
Okay, thank you. City Attorney.
As the City Commission knows, staff was directed to investigate the ins and outs of joining existing litigation, suing certain manufacturers of opiate-based drugs for damages, money damages, to the city of Sault Ste. Marie. As you might expect, it would be extremely difficult to quantify money damages to the city of Sault Ste. Marie without assistance. There are two possible ways to get paid in actions like this. You're all familiar with class action settlements where we see them on TV all the time, where a pool of money has been set aside, usually through a bankruptcy proceeding, and then there's an administrative process where people can make claims for their economic damages without an attorney, meaning that they don't pay an attorney fee on the money they receive from the pool. If you hire an attorney to enter into the litigation before it's settled, if money flows back to you directly, that's fine. You'll pay an attorney fee on it, and that's warranted. However, if the result of the litigation is to merely create a pool, I shouldn't say merely because that would be a big deal if it did create a pool, you'll pay an attorney fee on the money you pull from the pool, even though you would have been eligible to pull from the pool without an attorney. So that's the dichotomy of joining or not joining. However, as I stated earlier, there's difficulties in quantifying economic loss to the city of Sault Ste. Marie, and you're going to need help doing that. And you're not going to get expert help on that from your existing staff, nor I. It's going to have to come from attorneys that are going to be up to their eyeballs in this case. That is one of the services that this law firm offers to their clients. And they indicated in the queries that Oliver and I made that they have a team of people ready to work with the municipality to help the municipality identify data, quantify the data, and support a damage claim through the acquisition of additional data. And so there is value in doing this, but I wanted you to be clear that if this ends up like a tobacco litigation settlement or asbestos litigation settlement or any of the other big pools of money where anybody can make a claim to them if they can prove damages, you're going to be paying an attorney fee on your cut from that pool. My belief is that when you enter into these pools, you're going to have to prove your damages. So you're going to need help. In reviewing the fee contract with the attorneys, there's no financial risk to the city of moving forward. The attorneys are going to take the risk of the expenses of litigation, which will be enormous, and get paid off the top if the litigation is fruitful. There's no requirement that the city repay them for their expenses of litigation. That's specific. That's a good thing. If the case is dismissed by the court, there also does not appear to be any risk that the city would be sanctioned if the case were found to be without merit. That the risk of the case being found to be without merit and receiving a sanction would fall on the attorneys. So we've covered all these bases with them, and the city manager and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, both believe that it's probably in the city's best interest to enter into the agreement.
Thank you. Are there any questions of City Commissioner Twardy?
Thank you. So after you said, after discussion with the group, you have a specific lawyer group that you and Oliver have both interviewed, discussed, that we should use for the
Yes.
lawsuit? Oh, okay. Because I didn't see, I'm not seeing that. I mean, I didn't,
Should be- should
is it
be
Sam
in-
Bernstein?
Should
Okay.
be in the package. There's a group of attorneys involved in this. It's not just the Bernstein Law Firm. There's a group of attorneys in this case. It's not just one case either, and it's not just in one state either.
Right.
It's believed that the first trials in this type of litigation will occur sometime in 2019.
I heard that.
And that'll set the stage for how this is going to go. There's a judge in Ohio that seems to be the flypaper, and he seems to be collecting all of the claims for multi-district litigation, whether he wants to or not.
Thank you.
The question I guess I have is, could we join the movement or the case later when it looks like it's going to be more positive, or do you have to be in it at the beginning?
In my opinion, you need a maximum amount of time possible to develop a claim of damages. I mean, how have you, Mr. Mayor, been damaged by the opioid epidemic? You don't know the answer to that question. It's gonna, you know, you're gonna have to study it at some time to try and figure out how it might have negatively impacted you. So I think that it would be time well spent.
Commissioner Gary?
In looking at the information, it looked like about half of the counties in the state of Michigan are joining, but very few cities. Is there a reason behind that?
Only my opinion that counties are more deeply embedded in healthcare than cities are.
Okay.
So you would find our impact is going to be on police, fire, ambulance. A lot of cities don't have ambulance, so they're down to just police and fire. Counties have health departments by law. They have lots and lots of contact with patients needing services due to the abuse of drugs.
So even if we didn't join in, I mean, by the time, see, they are bringing this suit forward, they're getting all their legal fees paid for, plus they're getting 30% on top of that. So that money's gonna come out of that first pot anyway, so we really wouldn't be out anything.
We're not out anything, but
By joining now,
but
rather
legal
than later.
fees don't come out the way you described.
Yeah, according to the contract,
If
the
there's-
legal fees are paid up front. out of
Right,
the-
that's their percentage.
Right.
It's-
Plus 30%. So they're making a pretty good windfall.
Actually, that's a tad low, 30%, it's usually
Plus legal?
33 and a third.
Okay.
But they don't have any fees other than their percentage,
To us, right?
which would come out of the pot. So their expenses, their out-of-pocket expenses, money they pay expert witnesses, money they pay to the court, money that they pay for depositions, those types of things, that comes off the top, and then they get 30% of our cut.
Right.
There are no additional legal fees other than their share of our proceeds.
My point is, all of that is gonna be taken out of that pot, even if we waited and didn't join in now, so we're not gonna be,
Correct.
they're gonna be paid
Yeah, if you
anyway.
join in-
So it makes sense to join now so that we get the consultative advice and research.
It won't be easy.
Would you state the recommendation of the two administrative, yourself and city manager? What was your recommendation?
Well, a recommendation should come from the manager.
Okay. I thought you had mentioned, okay. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. As the city attorney indicated, I would concur that the city would be well-served to enter into the retainer agreement. I do think that, as stated by the city attorney, it's relatively, I mean, it is risk-free in the sense that the city does not incur direct costs. It's my understanding in working with the different law firms that there would be a certain amount of time that city staff would need to interface with the attorneys to calculate feasible damages. But I also think from the perspective of collaborating with our municipal partners, being able to join with other local units in this endeavor, I think there would be benefit in that dimension as well.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Commissioner Gary?
So move.
Support.
Okay. You move the city manager's recommendation?
Mhm.
Are there any questions? So the recommendation is to join the movement, okay, the laws. Roll call, please. No.
So I have a motion to authorize the city manager to execute a retainer agreement with Sam Bernstein Law Firm, PLLC, and Smith & Johnson Attorneys, PC. Is that correct?
City attorney, is that city manager?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Talentino?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you.
And item 2 under status reports is an update on the Power Canal Trail project. An update that progress on the construction of a non-motorized trail near the Power Canal is continuing as the city is finalizing construction bid documents and planning for a groundbreaking ceremony to occur in late summer. Construction will begin at West Portage Avenue and move easterly with the expectation that the trail will be open between West Portage Avenue and Ashman Street by early summer in 2019. Thereafter, it's anticipated the remainder of the trail running from Ashman Street to Johnson Street will be constructed and open to the public within an additional 2 years, pending progress of the Power Canal construction activities. Trail construction is being phased to coincide with maintenance being performed on the canal by Cloverland in an effort to ensure the long-term integrity of the trail. Temporary connector routes are also being considered to provide access around portions of the Power Canal maintenance project as various segments of the trail are constructed. The construction of the trail was made possible through a collaboration involving the city, Michigan Department of Transportation, Cloverland, Christopher Columbus Hall, North Star Habitat for Humanity, the MEDC, the Sault Ste. Marie Tribe Chippewa Indians, and the Michigan Municipal League, and through generous contributions by Platinum Trailblazer sponsors War Memorial Hospital, Central Savings Bank, and the Sioux Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, Gold Trailblazer sponsors Chippewa County Community Foundation, Precision Edge, and Sioux Co-op Credit Union, and Silver Trailblazer sponsors Old Mission Bank and Smith Sanitation, as well as many other generous contributors whose information is included with the agenda packet. Trail amenities will include interpretive signage, benches, trees, and lighting. An open-air plaza with benches and shade trees will also be constructed through a very generous and anonymous contribution of $37,500. In total, the community fundraised an amazing $107,410 to support this project becoming a reality, exceeding the initial goal of $50,000 for a total of $157,410, including matching state funds being raised. The city will also be working within the next 2 years concurrently to start construction on a non-motorized route along East Portage Avenue so that connectivity between the Power Canal Trail and Rotary Island Park can be established in the future. I certainly welcome any questions that the community may have on the project as it progresses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the update. Anyone have any questions of the trail project? So it's going to, we have a groundbreaking, and then some of the construction will start this late August, September, October, and then be finished along Cloverland Electric's. As they go, so will the trail. So,
Right, and
do we have a time frame on when that's supposed to be completed, their whole project?
We do, Mayor. So thank you for that question. Currently, it's anticipated that the portion from West Portage Avenue through Ashman Street would be open by next summer. And the way that the bid documents will be drafted is to provide the contractors with an option to start work this fall, but to complete that portion of the project by next summer. In discussions with different contractors, the city engineer determined that because of the current workload of contractors, that it would be financially advantageous to give them the option to start this year and work into next year to minimize cost for the project. It's anticipated that after 2019, we'd be looking at an extra 2 years before the entire trail is completed.
Oh.
Portions would be completed over that time, working in conjunction with Cloverland's maintenance schedule of the canal.
Okay, which got to be a little longer than I thought, like most of us thought, I guess. So, as we know, the sooner the better, because people are excited about the trail, and then working on East Portage Avenue as a bike trail or bike lane also with markers and stuff is very advantageous to the city and to folks that like to ride their bicycles. So, anyone have any comments? We don't need any motion, just continue the good work, and if, like you said, if people have a question, they can certainly call your office or the clerk's office. Okay. Thank you.
And that concludes the status report section of the agenda. Thank you, Mayor and Commission.
Okay, thank you. Item number I, matters presented by the public. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to comment at this time? Okay, thank you for your attention. And we'll go on to item number J, which is, not number, letter J, matters presented by the City Commission. And just, I see Linda Host stayed around. I know she was quoted quite regularly in the Friday's paper, Saturday, I think it was Saturday's paper maybe, on Engineers Day. So we won't steal any of your thunder. We'll let you come up and talk about how great that, what a tremendous day again. Come on up, Linda, you might as well. We know you don't like to speak a whole lot, so.
No, I'm very quiet. Well, first of all, I said, as we know, just like Denny Dory, you can't do it alone. And a great team. I said the staff at the CVB office and all the things that are happening when you have, everybody having their place and doing their things. And we're good at it now because we've been doing it for many years. With Debbie being there she'll be 9 years in September, Mariah in 7. It's an automatic thing for us. And working with the Army Corps and working with the DDA, doing all those different things, we all know what we have to do. So, Engineers Day, 8,478 people from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the afternoon is pretty amazing. And then I have to say, being with all the events, the ceremony for the Sioux Tribe and Bay Mills Tribe, that was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And then kind of doing their part, with the Vietnam veterans, and we're a commemorative partner also, but Susan did an outstanding job of that, making sure that all happened, and the Coast Guard in Cloverland. I mean, it was everybody. Everybody came forward. So yes, it was an absolutely wonderful weekend. And then, of course, we had Slash and Ashman that night.
Yeah.
I think I was out of the house at 7 and I was home at 10 at night.
Yeah.
So it was a
what
long
weekend.
day.
Like I said, and I think that, the number's 8,000 something, but I still think there were well over 10,000 people when a lot of people have been through the lock. So they didn't want to stand in line, and those lines were pretty tremendous. When I looked in the morning, I think I went by at like 8:15. It was already down around the corner.
Yeah.
And the party stayed that way most of the day. Cloverland was, I've never seen Cloverland as busy all day long.
And I haven't
think
got their numbers yet,
Mr.
but-
Talentino happened to mention that he really thinks Cloverland's a big draw. I think, and when the Sea-Free, the Freshwater Research
yeah.
and Education Center is completed, it'll be even bigger. So it just continues
Absolutely.
to grow.
Absolutely. I said that is going to be, it's just another added bonus for all of us and everything we do.
Sure.
And we've all worked very, very hard to get where we are. It's been, I remember 16 years, it's 16 years this month that I've been with the CVB, so I remember 16 years ago. So a lot of things have changed and everybody's working together, everybody has the same purpose.
Commissioner Twardy?
I have to agree with you on the 8,400 people number. I mean, there was so many people that told me that they didn't go across. I also think the Coast Guard base is a really
Yes.
big draw. I think for people to have the ability to go into a normally secured facility and just see what the Coast Guard does, and they are so welcoming about it and how they put that robot out. It's such a great time for kids. And you forgot to mention the GOT, because I was not there.
That was the best part.
Yeah.
I've got to say this one.
Okay.
I was so impressed when the GOT came through, and I was inside the locks at that time. I said, and first they get in there and they salute, and next thing I see, they're throwing stuff off the GOT to the kids.
Okay.
Ice cream sandwiches to the kids.
kidding.
It was wonderful.
Is that right?
Isn't
It
that
was
awesome?
just amazing. You saw all these kids with ice cream sandwiches, going around. And then when they went to leave, they saluted again. I said, what a great, people will walk away and remember that forever. It was, those kids will say, oh my gosh, they'll be adults saying it when they grow up. But you're absolutely right. I had so many people say that they didn't go in. It was, and it was really hot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't a cool
And we didn't
day.
even mention the arts and crafts on the
Oh,
City
yeah,
Hall
arts and
lawn.
crafts and the
that was
kids,
packed
and the
all
kids,
day.
and all the kids'
And all
things
the
to do.
fun things, the large toys, blow-up stuff. It
And we
was,
can continue that, and everybody working together for the same purpose. That's an event. I had the Pure Michigan Travel Commission here
yes.
at the same time, too. So, it was really busy. We did a dinner cruise the night before, and a lot of those people have never been to the UP, except for the two from the UP. And to do that dinner cruise, I heard more than once how great it was. They didn't realize Sault Ste. Marie, what we have, where we're at. I want to thank Don for being there, and Ollie, thank you for joining us too. It was really, really nice that we had that time with them. And the next morning, they ranted. They were just raving and raving and raving about the Sioux, so it's good. And of course, Dave Lorenz. He's
And let's
always
not go
great.
anywhere until we talk about 4th of July, which is Wednesday.
Yes, it is.
One day. Sue Events, I believe, is now the organizer of the parade.
Oh, no, we're all together.
Oh, you're all together? With
Yeah, the chamber,
and,
the DDA,
okay, excellent.
the CVB, and Sioux Events. We all
Okay.
do it together.
Again, it starts at 7 o'clock.
7
The lineup
o'clock.
is at 6. And it's normally up there around the Kmart, Meridian area on 10th Avenue, going forward. So I'm sure it'll be another great parade.
It's
And,
going to be
I see
great.
the weather's another warm one.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll be shaded by the buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
Only one.
Commissioner Twardy.
Thank you. I only wanted to make one more comment. I just wanted to say that, back to Engineers Day, I think it's always great to see Wayne in our district,
Yes.
Senator Wayne Schmidt. I know that Representative Lee Chatfield tried to be here, but there was so much going on in their district that day that they had to divide and conquer. But it was great to see Wayne. It was also great to see a former Senator, Jason Allen, who we all adore and works for the USDA. It's just great it's so awesome to see them just walking around in our community, just supporting everything that's happening. So.
And being everywhere, showing up and talking with people, and it was really, really good. And we also had them for dinner on the dinner cruise also, so it was really
And you
great.
did mention the rededication of the tribal burial ground was tremendous.
It was
Oh,
beautiful.
It was fabulous.
Yes, really well done, and those people are recommended, and also the Kavanaugh, or the Caneva. Well, the Vietnam veterans, just a recognition of the men and women that were involved in the Vietnam thing was
Yes.
great.
It was just a great day. It was just all around great day, and
Yep.
it was really nice on my end as a CVB to have the Travel Commission here and to see all the people in town, for them to be able to see all this and understand who we are and what we have. So all around, it was great. And I thank you all.
and,
Thank you for
the
your
group
support.
that continues to help the Sioux. Thank you.
We're in.
Yeah, thanks, Linda. Okay, any other commissioners? Commissioner Miller?
I wish you'd let me gone first, because that was really uplifting, and mine's kind of a downer, but anyway. I know anytime we have construction projects in the Sioux, it's, we have inconveniences and we have delays, and for the most part, we're all pretty much used to it by this time, but I've got a lot of phone calls about the construction up from Myers towards the roundabout there. One lady called me and said that she left the shoe department to go to McDonald's and back. It took her 45 minutes. I really think, even like I say,
And I
I mean,
think-
this is the time of year that we got to do it, and I understand there's going to be delays, but I was kind of wondering if maybe city administration could get a hold of them and say, I mean,
Yeah.
somebody said that it doesn't look like their lights are timed right, or, like when the light turns green, only 2 cars go. It seemed.
I'm glad you brought that up, because ultimately, I think most of us have been talked to by a couple of folks that there's tremendous amount of weights in that small little area. And I know they have lights, and I don't know if they can sync the lights.
But I've heard a couple times, they say, if you don't like it, don't go that way. But the thing is, there's people in the Cascade Crossings that work there, there's people
Okay, and
around
then
there.
I see
They have to go that way.
Our city engineer is up, so maybe, I know MDOT is in charge of that, but we're the people that are affected, and they're the ones that that get called.
Yes, it is. It's MDOT's project. But I do have some information. I did go out this afternoon, I watched the traffic, and I know exactly what's happening is, when they did this most recent traffic shift, in order to extend the project closer to the roundabout, we're down to 1 lane in each direction between Walmart Drive and the ramps. So in order to facilitate traffic, the signal at Mackinac Trail and Cascade Crossing has been changed, so it's running in like 30 seconds for each direction. So it's 3 directions, because they're stopping northbound while southbound, only one direction is going at a time. Usually you see east-west or north-south going at the same time. But because of a lot of left turns in and out of Mack Trail and so forth, it's 3 cycles. And so I contacted them this afternoon. They are working on making some adjustments, one being giving the northbound spur at Mackinac Trail. That's where the holdup is, giving the northbound traffic more time, and because southbound spur and Mackinac Trail traffic's flowing just beautifully, especially relative to the backup for the northbound spur. So will be making those adjustments, hopefully as early as tomorrow, but, and extending the cycle time a little bit.
Yeah, the people who contacted me, and they're not construction experts, but they've lived here their whole life, so they've been through construction a lot, said that a couple of those lights, only like 2 cars are going, like only 2 cars can make it before the light.
Well, it
changes.
is true that like Cascade Crossing, only 3 cars can get out at once. I sat and watched it for a while, but that's going to get the shorter end of the stick versus the moving northbound. So there's
But it's
only
only
so
30
much time.
seconds.
And so some tweaking will take place. Hopefully it'll get better.
So if this helps, if we can find, so are you gonna check to see how that goes, and then if there's somewhere else that might be able to be tweaked a little?
Oh, yeah.
Recommend to 'em?
Yes, we'll be
We appreciate it.
watching
Okay.
that. all
So
along.
you'll follow up on it?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Linda, appreciate it.
City manager, anything?
Just appreciate the response from the city engineer, and
Okay.
we'll look forward to following up.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Miller. Anyone else? Commissioner Gary?
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.